An army of 10,000 got pushed back by an army of 2,000, led by someone who is literally nicknamed the Reaper. But not only that, a mage with essentially an unlimited mana reserve to keep an active barrier up got done in by one crazy girl who would have made Megami proud as she launched explosions galore. If this isn't a built different isekai, I don't know what is. I have full live reactions so over on Patreon. If you want to see my mind break to this insane Aristocrat episode, you know it's over there exclusively. So, this episode did something that I didn't think I needed to see, but once they started the momentum, I realized just how important this is. So, up to this point, it's been set up. It's been preparation. It's been ours recruiting who is supposedly the best of the best. But what good is the best of the best if normal situation and odds have to be abide by? So what ends up happening is it's actually a pretty good plan. So initially what they're thinking is 4,000 foot soldiers-ish go to each of the three sections because they most likely only have 1,000 that they can fit in per thing, and it would be an easy capture. Because the first battle that happens, they actually waved the flag and gave up because they were so outnumbered. But this battle, which was truly ours' first battle, they essentially put 10,000 troops behind ours. Meaning, they might have 2,000, 4,000 if they were lucky, but really 2,000 as it stood, having to then go against 10,000. And as they were pointing out, like, what are we to do? If we could capture the base, then wait for reinforcements. The thing about it is that, under normal circumstances, you would have no option other than to try to retreat and to basically save as many people as you could. The unfortunate thing is that, you are going to lose a lot. But if you're going to tell me that a character who's been recruiting, who's supposed to be the best of the best up to this point, should be able to defy odds, or at least you would hope so. And this is what I mean where I wasn't really thinking of it, but after seeing what they were able to do, it just kind of all clicked. Because on one hand, you have a soldier who's saying, okay, how long do you need me to push them back? Because it would take roughly half a day to get that barrier down, according to the other mages. Reitz is like, oh, you need me to push them back for a half a day? I could push them back for a whole day if you want. Actually, I could actually defeat all of them if you really want. Of course, a completely ridiculous idea for anyone with battle experience, and they're probably thinking, oh, these kids are going to get us all killed. And then in comes Charlotte saying, give me an hour and I'll destroy that barrier. It becomes this competition between ours' two most powerful allies, one on a soldier leader front and another on a mage front. And the idea that we don't even know how long it actually took, but I'm willing to believe it was under an hour. I have to be honest about that. And the idea that basically we are in a situation where, under normal circumstances, no one should believe this young kid and his ridiculous allies thinking that 2,000 could push back 10. And the way they did it actually did have strategy. Okay, if they're all going to be on this narrow path, then ultimately the natural thought would be for them to then scatter out and then swarm them. But if there's archers in the tree lines, that would then stop them and force them to on a narrow path. And we see that Reitz is just built different, right? Like, he is just someone who doesn't play by the rules. He doesn't play by other people's rules. And he's called the Reaper for a reason. You give him a stick and he would probably crush 1,000 people and make a name for himself. And then when it came to Charlotte's side, you basically... So her attacks were really the only ones that were breaking the barrier. Unfortunately, the mage they were going up against, named Selena, was, well, ridiculous. She is absolutely busted, and there's no other way to put that. Now, on a just pure physical level, I actually think they're probably pretty close. But here's the thing. The unfortunate thing about how magic works in this world is that it's not just based on your own skill, it's also about the, I forget what they call it, but they all have their jar of juice that they recharge their orbs with, right? So she has like a stack of probably 1,000. So in theory, she would be able to just deal with it because, you crush it down, I put another one back up. She actually started to buff it more as it went on, which was kind of crazy to think about. The thing about this show that I really enjoy, though, is just... it's so different than what you expect. Like, the fact that rather than it being a situation where, okay, we just have to out-exhaust each other, because that's what I thought it was going to be. It was going to be a battle of stamina. Who ended up getting weak and winded the fastest? But if you're going to say someone's going to be set up and is planning to just defend so that the army is going to crush them from behind, they probably are going to have a stockpile of, the mana repool or whatever that it is, right? So the idea that she ends up using the last, Charlotte that is, use up the last of their reserve, and rather than doing the one big fireball like she's been doing up to that point, it's like 20 or 30 of them that come crashing down and just absolutely obliterates it. So rather than just simply destroying the barrier once and then trying to, no, it's destroyed as you get rapid fire explosions and the force destroys their reserve. It's such a brilliant play, and if you didn't have extraordinary members, this couldn't happen. Because at the end of the day, any normal general would look at that and say, we could try, and if we really got lucky, we might be able to capture that. But you'd probably risk losing 80%, if not more, if not all of your forces, versus maybe losing half of them if you try to retreat now. Because no matter what, they're going to jump you, so you have to try to save as many as you can. But as they were saying, by the end of the episode, is if this isn't a normal group, right? This is about building the extraordinary team that's going to do extraordinary things. And because of that, we ended up in a situation that truly is built different. And I think, the fact that it took 16 episodes to get to this point. Now, it's not to say Reeds or Charlotte haven't had impressive moments up to this point, but this is truly their first moment that made me say, okay, yeah, like, when you have a character who's looking at these stats and he's saying they are extraordinary, yeah, there's definitely been moments up to this point that I say that's very extraordinary. But this is the first moment that I truly looked at what he did as a character and I thought to myself, holy shit, that is not only built different, like this actually lives up to like ours' whole thing was about building and surrounding himself with the strongest and most talented people. His dad has to be looking down at him just smiling ear to ear, seeing what he was able to accomplish, because if he even had a slightly normal member, a part of his core crew, this never would have happened. And it'd be easy to say, like, oh, realistically, shit. It's like the whole point of the show is about ours surpassing what should be the logical outcomes because he's surrounding himself by nothing but the most gifted. And clearly, even if our boy isn't going to be the macho sword fighter who's going to save the day, he is the leader that brings together the best of the best, and in doing so, it allows for these insane moments to occur. What a massive W, and I think there's no other way to put it than built different, the isekai. Now, of course, those are my feelings on this latest Aristocrat episode. What did you think of 2,000 versus 10,000? Because it definitely blew my mind away. Let me know your feelings down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll just give you a video shout out. So today we got Jay Vorty, Sufflin Coda, Connor Brown, and we also have GR Vallis. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.